Hello everyone, Guillaume Lesueur here, host of the E-Commerce Wizards podcast, where I feature leaders in e-commerce and business. Today's guest is Osa Gaius. He's back for his second time. He's the CEO and founder of Parrot, which you can see at getparrot.com. Today we'll be talking about checkout via SMS, the future of mobile SMS commerce. So before we get started, our sponsorship message.
This episode is brought to you by MageMontreal. If a business wants a powerful e-commerce online store that will increase their sales, or to move piled-up inventory to free up cash reserves, or to automate business processes to reduce human processing errors, our company, MageMontreal, can do that. We've been helping e-commerce stores for over a decade. Here's the catch. We're specialized and only work on the Adobe Magento e-commerce platform, also known as Adobe Commerce. We're among only a handful of certified companies in Canada. We do everything Magento-related. If you know someone who needs design, support, training, maintenance, or a new e-commerce website, email our team at support@MageMontreal.com or go to MageMontreal.com. That's MAGE Montreal.com.
All right, Osa, thanks for being here again.
Thank you. It's great to be here again.
And in case anyone has not listened to the first episode, can you briefly tell us a bit about you?
Yeah, I'm Osa, founder and CEO at Parrot. Parrot is a mobile payments platform that helps merchants collect money directly over text. Before starting Parrot, I worked for a few years at MailChimp, leading one of the engineering teams there.
All right, perfect. So let's dive right into the topic. So checkout via SMS. It's not something we see a lot right now. Can you present us the concept?
Yeah, so the basic idea is, when a consumer goes to your e-commerce website today, a lot of merchants will ask for their email address, make them enter a password, create an account. And the real reason you're doing that as a merchant is so that you can store that person's credit card on file and charge them when they come back to your website later. But we've seen a trend where a lot of e-commerce websites, particularly those who run on Shopify and use the Shop Pay solution, will actually ask for your phone number during checkout and no password. And so whenever you come back to the website and need to buy again, they'll just have you put your phone number in, get a code over text, and that code is a replacement for your password. It's how you remember who you are on the website and how you can confirm future payments. And what we thought about, when I was still at MailChimp was, well, what if you could take that concept of being able to take someone's phone number, use it as a way to authorize future payments, but send them a text message to do that, right? So, hey, here's a t-shirt. Would you like it? Reply yes to buy it. And use that same phone number to confirm that it is them. So, reply with a code or reply yes from your phone so we can make sure it's you. So the broader trend we're seeing is that as merchants try to figure out how to get consumers to engage with them with phone numbers as opposed to just email addresses, one of the ways they're thinking about that is how to do secure payments in a way that allows a consumer to not need to remember an email or a password, especially when they're just texting back and forth with that brand.
Yeah, and especially that the SMS has way higher opening rates than the 90-95% typically. I mean, when there's a new text message, you check your text message, and when it's not read, it's not that you haven't read it, it's because you see, oh, it looks spammy, and you just swipe to delete. But you've read it, actually, so which is amazing. But with email, like 20 to 30% opening rate is sort of typical and good for most industry, and some industry might run at 50%, which is amazing. But they usually have an amazing relationship, or they have a unique offer, or it's a special sale of the month or something, So already just to engage more for commercial purposes via SMS, it's very interesting. You're going to have 2 or 3 times more people reading your offer. That's for sure. So please walk us through a typical scenario. Like, what would the experience of a checkout via SMS look like right now?
Yeah, one of my favorite examples is think of your favorite coffee brand, right? You buy coffee from them once a month. If you're a person who's into like roasted coffee, maybe you get a bag every month, or maybe you get a few pods every month that you can just pop into your machine. And so the experience would be, think of that coffee retailer. Let's say it's been 2-3 weeks since you bought something. You don't have a subscription, but they want you to buy more. What they can do is push a message to you, say, hey, here's a reminder, Guillaume, like, would you like to get more of this coffee? And what you can do, with Parrot or with a solution that the merchant builds is say yes, and then the merchant will ask you a question. Hey, do you want to use a credit card you've used before with us that's attached to this phone number? And you will reply yes from your phone, send that to the merchant, and that's it, right? The merchant can now confirm that the consumer wanted to pay for that bag of coffee with the credit card that was attached to your phone number. Now, there's a bunch of security stuff that goes into making sure that your credit card data is stored correctly, it's attached to your phone number correctly. But the experience for you as a consumer should be as simple as saying, yes, I want the thing. And yes, I want to use the saved information and address that I have on file with you as a merchant. And that should be it.
Yes, and yes. Okay. And how do you think merchants should go about knowing what to suggest to people? Is that a fully manual system? Is it fully automated or sort of half automated, semi-automated?
Yes, I think the best advice we give to merchants is that early on, if you're thinking about collecting payments over text, right? If you're going to reach out to your customers and get them to confirm that they are going to pay you with a saved card on file, you want to make sure it's highly relevant, right? Because if you're just sending a bunch of messages to people like, hey, we know you like coffee, but here's a t-shirt that you should buy. It's not really that relevant, right? Like, yes, you may sell coffee and t-shirts as a business, but if I've only ever bought coffee from you, why are you trying to sell me t-shirts? Like that's the way you have to think about it as a business is I'm going to try to get in front of this person. Think of it like kind of, in-store sales, right? I'm going to get in front of you. I'm going to ask you what you want, and I'm going to try to get you to buy it as quickly as possible. But I think over text, sometimes brands kind of get trapped into a belief that I have to automate everything. I got to get all my flows set up and this and that. But we tell brands, start with just asking yourself the question. And you can do this by going to your Magento dashboard or your Shopify dashboard, whatever tool you use, and just look up your top customers. What are they buying from you regularly? If they're not buying from you regularly, they're not your top customers, right? They're just people who bought one time. But when you look at those people and you look at their profiles, you can very quickly figure out, okay, what's the next thing in my list of products that I should tell this person to buy? Or what's the one thing I know that they'll need to buy again? Maybe it's more dog food, maybe it's more soap, and get that in front of them and get them to buy it. You can then figure out how to automate those reach outs. You can automate all that, but it really has to start with you taking a piece of paper out, looking at a few of your customers and saying, what should I recommend this person buy next? Because otherwise, it's going to feel very annoying, right? It's going to feel like you're just spamming your customer.
Right.
There's more complex stuff you can do around like recommendation algorithms and some artificial intelligence, but it really just starts with going into your customer database, finding those one or two customers who are your best customers and finding out what do I get in front of them that they will be able to reply yes to buy and will feel excited to buy from me again.
Yeah, so I guess the best angle is to come up helping, like say, okay, you're buying that expensive DSL camera or something. You see, text maybe, oh, I see you haven't bought the lens protection filter or UV filter to protect your lens. Would you like to add that to be sure to not scratch your lens and just scratch a cheap filter at $50? So like you're considerate for them, and it's also an upsell. Not an upsell. In this case, it's a cross sell. So I believe cross sell of high usefulness is probably the way to go to engage in this case.
Yeah, I love that you mentioned the camera example, right? Because you can imagine a worse example would be you just bought a DSLR. Here is another DSLR, right? Like that would not be a good.
Yeah.
But you could easily see how someone who maybe was just trying to automate everything would create an automation somewhere in Klaviyo or whatever tool you use that says, if someone buys this product, recommend another product at the same price, right? But to me, like that is the wrong way to think about it. But as you just naturally mentioned, if I'm a company who sells DSLR cameras, I know what the 5-6 things you'll need over the course of 6 months are to make your camera the best experience you've ever had using a camera. And it might be a filter, it might be a bag, it might be film, right? It might be whatever you might need to make that camera experience great. And so it's your job as a merchant to map that customer journey out on a piece of paper and say, what will my customers need after they buy X, Y, Z? What points in their journey do I want to upsell them or cross-sell them those things? And then figure out how to automate that, right? But don't start with automating a lot of stuff. Start with semi-automated or manual. And then you can very quickly automate those things.
Yeah, and it helps, of course, if whoever's in charge of that has real life product experience. Like then you could ask easily again with the DSLR example there. Do you often go out full day or long tracks of photography, travel trips, and so on? And if so, then we would suggest an additional set of batteries. So, way more convenient than running out of batteries at the wrong timing. So, you could have a few of those semi-automated system that just checks, did they buy a second set of battery? Yes or no. Did they buy a filter? Yes or no. Did they buy a bag? And if they buy maybe like an expensive lens, then did you buy some kind of wrap for it, which is increasing the resale value if ever one day you want to resell it, that it's not full of scratches and chips on the paint and all that. So product experience for sure would help there in having very good rules. It's still simple, like it's just a few rules, and you say, hey, let's identify a few scenarios like I've just done here of real life usage, and you could have something cool coming out of that. So is there any kind of traps or things to be careful about when implementing, let's say, mobile SMS commerce?
Yeah, I think the biggest trap brands fall into is not taking PCI compliance seriously. PCI compliance is just generally means are you being very careful when you collect credit card information from a customer? And so one thing that we would not recommend you do is if you are going to try to collect payments from your customers over text, don't ask them to text you their credit card number. Right? That's that's a big no-no. Both in Europe and in Canada and the US, that is insecure, right? Because when you're sending a text message to someone, it's not encrypted by default. If you're using WhatsApp or Telegram, like you have encryption there, but just texting your mom or your friend, like that's not encrypted by default. And what's really important about that for you as a merchant is if someone says, yes, I do want the DSLR, I already have it actually, but I really need some new lenses. What you want to do is send them somewhere where they can give you their credit card and attach that credit card to a phone number. You don't want to actually tell them, hey, text me back your number and then write it down on a piece of paper or like keep it around on your desk and use that to charge them, or even type it on a piece of paper and then go put that in some database somewhere. You actually want to get them to put in their information without ever giving you a credit card number. And so that's one thing we see brands kind of screwing up when they first try to figure this out is, it's manual. I'm going to collect their card over text and I'm going to write it down and I'm going to put it in some database, or I'm just going to put it into my Stripe dashboard and charge it. But I think the right way to do it is to actually, collect their information by a secure link. So send them a secure link they can put their credit card in. And then once they put it in, you should have some way to check as a merchant, okay, boom, this person has put their credit card in. I can go ahead and press a button and charge them for the product. Or ideally, you have some natural language, like a bot or something that can collect the card and then charge them. Now, if you're going to build this yourself, right, you can, as a merchant, go to some providers like Twilio or Stripe and build something like this yourself securely. But what we recommend is to go find a vendor who can actually help you do this kind of thing in a secure way and can help you with the PCI compliance risk to make sure that you're protected as a business and make sure your consumers are also protected.
Yeah, I won't deep dive into PCI, but at the very least, you always store the credit card inside a vault, such as the one provided by Authorize.net or by Stripe, or in Canada by Moneris or whatever. So you don't want to have any liability whatsoever with storing credit cards. You store it in the vault of those companies. They'll charge you like whatever, 10 cents a month a credit card or more or less, something like that. But that's the way to do it. So yeah, you could just have a clickable link, sends you to a web page where you fill in your credit card info. That will be secured. Then the web form securely saves it to the vault, returns to the phone conversation, and then you could proceed with the checkout there.
Exactly. Yeah, vaulting is definitely a rabbit hole we can go down, but I think the thing we always tell brands is it doesn't matter how you collect credit cards today, they should be vaulted somewhere. And so it's your job to make sure you understand like how payments does work at a very cursory level. So that when you need to reuse that card, whether it's over SMS or Instagram, wherever your customer is talking to you, even email, you can very quickly access that vault for that customer and say, okay, good. I've got your card vaulted. I can see it's here. Is it okay if I go ahead and charge it? But that's the right way to be thinking about payments for you as a brand is there's always going to be a vault. You're never going to be copying credit cards or saving credit cards anywhere on your personal computer as a merchant. But there is some vault somewhere, whether it's with Authorize or Stripe, and it's your job to make sure that whenever your customer wants to pay, they can very quickly authorize you to charge that card that's in the vault, right? And then you as a merchant can continue with actually fulfilling the orders and doing the regular things you do in your business.
Correct. All right. Anything else that people should keep top of mind with implementing this?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, again, the exercise of taking a piece of paper out, right, is not trivial, right? Take a piece of paper out, maybe write a few rules down, but really think about all the moments in your customer journey where you would, if you had the customer directly in front of you, where you would present something. And that's how you want to be thinking about SMS generally is how do I present something to them in the right moment at the right time? And that's not really a function of automation. That's just a function of you understanding your product and your customer. And you already have that stuff in your head as a merchant, right? The hard part is taking a piece of paper out or even a Google Doc and just trying to map out, okay, like person, Jack buys DSLR on January 1st. He'll probably need lenses on January 15th. He might need a bag, right? Like write all those things down, like map out your customer lifetime journey. And then it's going to be very easy for you to write the text messages and request payment for all those things because you've already done the hard work of figuring out what the customer wants at what time based on your deep understanding of your product and your customer.
Okay, you make me want to implement the SMS transaction right now. All right, so I think we'll wrap this up here. If anyone wants to get in touch with you, Osa, what's the best way?
Yeah, if you want to learn more about SMS or payments, please go to getparrot.com. And we've got a great blog which can help educate you on payments, but also SMS. And if you want to get in touch with me directly, it's osa@getparrot.com. And I'd be happy to answer any questions around payments or SMS.
All right. Thank you for being here today, Osa.
Thank you so much. It was great to be here again.